Howdy, howdy, and welcome to Workshop Wednesday. Today is actually a strategy session, building your optimization plan. And of course, we rotate our topics. This week's a strategy session. Next week, it's all about the what's new and the updates that have come out recently on these tools. After that, we've got a beginners, right? Just kind of getting started topics. And after that, we do a beyond the basics for the more experienced users. Then we come back to strategy session. So something for everybody each and every week. Today, of course, all about optimization plan. My name is Chris Mercer. I do go by Mercer, and the co-founder here at measurementmarketing.io, where you can find our products on such incredible platforms as Digital Marketer, Conversion Excel, Social Media Examiner, Serious Simple Marketing, and others around the web. As with all of these trainings, one thing, one new concept, one idea, one way of looking at something a little different than you previously did. That's all you're looking for. Then you come back, you rewatch these workshops. That is why they are here, so that you can come back to them over and over and over again and catch something new. Again, your win, just that one new idea is all we're looking for in this particular training. All right, speaking of, let's get started. Strategy session, building your optimization plan. Now, of course, this is going to relate to the 5 pillars of measurement marketing. We have, number 1, the plan. Number 2, you build. Then you report. Then you forecast based on those reports, what's about to happen. And then you optimize based on those forecasts. So how does this whole optimization plan fit in? Well, obviously, the first and last, right? So you've got your planning stage of things, and you've got the optimization plan, because obviously the point of the optimization plan is to optimize. So that's where it's going to fit in and give you a little bit of context as to how you're doing this. Now, I'm actually going to show you exactly what this looks like. Now, I'm going to show you a tool. All the Measurement Marketing Academy members already have access to this tool, so you can grab it. It will be in your tools and resources section. There'll also be a link to it here as well. But I wanted to show it to you because even if you don't have access to the tool, it's still pretty useful. But I'm going to show you this one because I think this is incredibly useful and it's custom built for you. Here's what we're going to do. You are going to go click on the link. You're going to go into this tool. You're going to go to File and you're going to go to Make a Copy. Pull this thing out. So I'm just going to rename it. We're going to say this is the Measurement Marketing. This is Workshop Wednesday. So we're going to call it that. So measurementmarketing.io's Workshop Wednesday. If I could spell Workshop Wednesday, that'd be even easier. But here we go. Workshop Wednesday. Perfect. I'm going to put it in my drive there, just like you will. Now I'm going to go through here. I've got an editable one. So I'm going to close this out. This one I can actually edit, right? It's completely live for me. It's my own personal copy, just like you can have your own personal copy. And the whole point of this tool, the reason it was created was to help give structure to that idea of I've got a customer journey, I've got a funnel, I've got a path that's working. How do I make it better, right? What do I make it better? What areas should I focus on? How do I actually prioritize all my different ideas? What ideas should I have? All of that. That's what this tool does. Then there's multiple parts to it. We're going to start with the very simple one first, which is just basically scratch paper, right? It's just a list. So as you have ideas, just write them out. So I would come down here and say, oh yeah, I want to come up with, a new product level, right, that I might come out with. I might talk about adding testimonials in video form, right, as opposed to like text form, et cetera, et cetera. I'm writing all these ideas that I just happen to see, and they're sort of just scratch level ideas. But it's very important, and as much as this is an incredibly simple stage, this is the one that sometimes you skip and you think about, oh yeah, I'll write that down later, and you don't, you forget about it. And then it's like, man, what was that thing that I heard about that I needed to do, or that I saw in that blog post, or heard about in the mastermind, or that friend of mine told me about, or I saw the competitor doing that I thought was awesome. Like, what is that thing? And if you didn't write it down right away, if you don't have that one place where everybody in your team can go to write it down, things are going to get lost. So you make this the one place. Create a one place, whether it's this or something else. Create a one place that everybody can go to write stuff down. Just get it out of your head and onto paper, so to speak. I'd like it personally in a virtual format so it's shareable and collaborators can come in, but get it out of your head. That's the point, right? So I just did that. Get it out of my head. And that's really all this tool is for. Get it out of your head. Now, let's assume you have no ideas. You're like, guys, we've tried it all. I don't know what to do. Guess what? We have thought about that. You have a little idea generator. Now, the way that this works, and you can customize it according to yours, we made it in sort of like a direct response style format here. So the way that this works is this is kind of the questions you should ask yourself, right? So some things that you can do here to improve, the things you want to improve. And then these are the areas where you can actually improve them. Now, again, this is more of like direct response style. But if you were using e-commerce and you wanted to say, okay, what's, product detail pages? What can I do for that? Put in product detail. Like, here's my category pages. Here are my product detail pages. Here's my checkout billing. Here's my checkout review payment, right? You could just change them. They're just labels. So in this case, the way they would come through and think about it is I'd say, okay, relevancy. What's in it for me? Is there a way that my headline might be more relevant, be able to communicate a more relevant, a more what's in it for me type of feeling, so that the user who's seeing this page sees my headline and goes, yeah, that's even, it's based upon what my control is. Is there another thing I can come up with? What's the other concept? Yeah, I could try this, I could try that, I could try whatever, right? Is my headline distracting at all, right? Could it be something that's causing a problem where it's kicking people off accidentally? And I might need to adjust it, maybe come up with some other ideas, right? That could help with that. Is there a way I could do some personalization on my headline, right? People in Austin love this, that sort of thing, where it's like using geolocation or something like that might help. Again, doesn't mean you have to, just means it's helping you generate ideas, right? Is my headline causing any sort of friction, right? That I don't realize. Like if I read my headline for that purpose, if I look at my product detail page, whatever this category is that you're looking at, is it creating any sort of friction? And if so, is there a way I might be able to eliminate it and adjust something? What about simplicity? Can I make things even simpler or even clearer? Can I use different words? Can I use words with less syllables, like in the example of a headline? Can I use simpler words? Right? Am I using something that's maybe I can make it clearer than I previously did? Is there a way that I could have the headline sort of promote this feeling of safety and security? Does this headline reinforce or repeat the expectation of the person that's on the page? Is this, and the clickability wouldn't necessarily matter for this, but well, maybe does the headline look clickable? Because that could be a distraction if it's like blue with an underline and it's a headline and it's not clickable. If it's clickable, like let's take that off. But obviously when it comes to a button or something like that, yeah, is there a way I can improve the clickability of this, how easy it is to use and click on, especially on mobile devices, thumb friendly, things like that. Urgency. Is there a way that I can make this more urgent, right? So in a button, maybe there's like the call to action on a button. Is there a way that, hey, get this now, get started today, get instant access, right? All those things might be a little bit more urgent from call to action. Congruence. Is this headline congruent to the page? Is it congruent to the offer? Is it congruent to the expectation? Readability. Is it easy to read, right? Very simple. Scannability. Is it easy to scan through, right? Same thing. My buttons, are they popping? When I scan through, maybe they all sort of blend in, those little ghost buttons that people used to love. They blended in with the copy and they didn't really convert all that well because of that. It looked great from a design perspective, but that's because they blended in. And we didn't want that. We want something to pop so that people, when they're scanning, can see the obvious call to action you want. So there's some things of each of these sort of this matrix that's built for you, this idea generator that's got these different topics that you can create. Again, I've sort of defaulted some ones in here for you, right? And you think about, okay, the pricing is the way I can make the pricing more urgent, or can I make the pricing more clickable to get through? Can I make the pricing more around safety and security, like maybe a guarantee, right? Talking about the guarantee around the pricing. Is the pricing creating friction of some sort? So maybe I can come up with payment plans that make it easier to buy, right? All of these different things, even personalization. People in Austin pay X amount. You see insurance companies do this all the time in those little ads, right? People in your area are paying $25, less than national average. Are you, right? That's personal. That's making it personal, right? Personalization there. I've got starter copy, which is like your lead, right? Lead copy, your body copy, and you can keep breaking these out in all these different examples. This you can customize to yourself, right? To what you're looking for. But just think about the different results. And again, e-commerce, you've got your main homepage, you've got your category pages, you've got your product detail pages, you've got the various checkout steps that you have. You might have other aspects that come into it. But generally speaking, I think those would be the most things that you could play around with. So there's that. And so you've got your idea scratch sheet. And if you don't have any ideas, go through the generator. It will not take you long to get those juices flowing. And you're like, okay, cool, I got it. Like, here's some things that we can do that might improve our results. In other words, that might optimize our results, right? Which is the whole point of this plan. You want to build this optimization plan. You want your company, you want your team focused on optimization, focused on growing these results, building these results. This tool will help you to do that, right? And hopefully you can see that already. Number one, just by getting the ideas that might be amazing ideas but get lost, getting them in the one spot. Number two, if there are none, use the idea generator. It'd be a great team meeting. Get everybody on a whiteboard and walk through this. Be like, okay, cool. What can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Brainstorm it. It forces you to brainstorm. You don't need great ideas. You just need ideas. And you will see the great ones sort of rise to the top. Now, when you have your ideas, that's when you can move on to the testing plan. And this, I will warn you, is a behemoth, but it's amazing. So you want to go slow. But the way that we would do this, let's say I wanted to say, okay, well, this is going to be, February 16th, 2019. Pretend it's our testing start date. The test name itself is, let's just say we're a testing payment plan, right? Actually, let's go back to that video testimonial thing. It's like, oh, I want to do testing video testimonials, right? So this is our video testimonials versus, and I'm going to say testimonial. This is because I like naming things in times of hierarchy. So I start with testimonials, and this would be text versus video. Let's say that's it, right? So we have that. And then I've got my test status, right? Drop down. Is this an idea stage? Is this already moving on to dev, design, or copy? Is this something where we need really code that needs to be put into place here? Is this something where it's a running test? Is it a test that has already stopped? Is it an idea but is postponed? Like, hey, you know what, that's good, but we're not going to do that for a while. Or is it just, hey, this is something that's dead in the water. We're not going to do this. So right now I might say this is an idea, but as I get it up and running through dev, I'm like, cool, we're in the dev copy stages. Okay, now it's running, right? And then once the test is stopped, it's stopped, right? Idea postponed again means, it's a good idea, but maybe not right now. Let's postpone it. And so what happens is with these little filters, everything you've got, you can choose and say, I just want to see my idea postponed. So I can come back to those later, right? And it'll sort through all of them for you. So pretty cool. Specific URL being tested would be, in fact, that. So if I had a particular sales page, I would put that URL of that sales page that I'm testing in there. The type of page being tested, this again is kind of up to you, but categorize them. So it's a product detail page, it's a category page, it's a sales page, a cart page, something like that. Think about the category of page. So again, the whole concept is so that you can come back here and say, what tests have we run on our cart already? What tests have we run on our order forms already? What tests have we run on our checkout process already? Well, this is where you would put all those details and you'd be able to click in here and filter it out and see, everything that said that. Now, the test number, this is something that we actually would get from the platform itself that we would use. So whether it's Google Optimize and a test ID of some sort, or Visual Website Optimizer or Optimizely, they all sort of have their little test IDs. Grab that, pop that in here. The reason is so that you can go back to that platform if you need to do a deep dive into the analysis of it, like 6 months later. Let's say you pull it up of all your tests that are stopped around the checkout that were successful. Then you can go into the details of the actual platform itself and maybe grab a little bit of stuff here. So that's what that's for reference. Now, the test hypotheses is super important. You don't just test for test's sake. You don't say like, oh yeah, video, that's a great idea. It's what do I think is going to happen, right? What do I think is going to happen? So I think video is going to lead to what percentage increase, what actual result, right? So I got to measure it because I got to know if I'm right or not. I have to test with a purpose when you're optimizing. And so that's what that is for. It's this test hypothesis here. So you'd write that out. Now, how do you get there? Sometimes you need a little bit of help. That's what these are. And you should know these. So I might say, well, right now in my sales page with my current testimonials, it's at let's say a 1% conversion rate. And I would expect that video testimonials will give me at least a 20% lift. Right? Well, that means my expected conversion rate will go to 1.2%. And I either go, that's awesome, or I go, I don't know if that's really that big of a deal. Maybe I need to figure out something else, right? So let's say it's awesome. That's part of my hypothesis. It should be in there. My hypothesis is I'm going to see at least a 20% lift to a closing rate at an average order volume of whatever should generate X amount of revenue based on this 1%, what's 1.2% as opposed to 1%. Number of variations, very simple. Just how many different tests are you running? I might have 3 different video styles, right? So I might put those in there. Expected daily visitors. This you're pulling in from tools like analytics. How many daily visitors do you get? How many days do you need to complete the test, right? And it says per calcal because there is a little Easter egg, not so Easter egg. It's not that hidden, but it's up out of the way. We have a little calculator that Visual Website Optimizer uses. So we link to it. It's pretty great. So you can say, cool, here's my existing conversion rate. Here's my minimum improvement that I want to get. So existing conversion rate might be 1% like we did. I want a 20% improvement. Number of variations, remember that was a reason for that. Let's just say there's 1 variation. Sorry, including control would be 2 variations. Number of average daily visitors. Let's say I have 20,000 daily visitors, and then I'm going to include 100% of them in test. I hit calculate. Now I need 4 days. That's what this is saying. I would need 4 days with this amount of traffic. If I have a lot less traffic, watch this. If I only have 200 visitors per day, 396 days. So you can see how fast that goes up. So that's why you need a lot of traffic when you're running tests, or you need bigger swings. So I'm gonna do 2000, see it's 40 days. But if I don't have 40 days to run a test, it's kind of a long time. If I have 40 days, then I got to figure out something else that's going to do a bigger swing. Maybe I can get a 50% improvement, right? So I've got my conversion rate at 1%, 50% improvement. That's going to take only 6 days of traffic if I'm at 2,000 per hit. So I can use this calculator in a lot of different ways, and that can go all in here. All these different answers can be listed in here. This helps you to think through your tests. You're not just throwing stuff up against the wall, but you're actually thinking through it. How much data do I need? What are the results I need to get? How do I have the actual traffic I need to run this test? All of that sort of stuff. Then you'll put in your start date and end date as far as what you actually project it's going to start and end based on what your results of that calculator are. Then the expected traffic total, again, this is just how much you think is going to happen in this testing period. So it's your daily traffic times whatever the number of days are. So if it was 6 days, you had 200 people, it'd be 1,200 that would go there. Then, this is the cool part, this helps you prioritize. If it's achieved, will the impact to revenue be greater than 5%? Well, look at this, pretty simple. Yes, no, not sure, right? Yes, no, not sure. Let's say it's yes. Is the test above the fold, meaning it's in the viewable area of the browser before the user has to scroll? That means more eyeballs are going to be on it, so it should theoretically have a bigger impact. If it's like, yeah, okay, we've got one, maybe people say no here because it's like video testimonials are below the page. Is it 100% viewable of all the visitors? Yes, it is in this case for that page. No other segments are coming in. Is the idea sourced from analytics or research? And let's say no, it wasn't. It was just a cool idea. Is it sourced from a competitor? Let's say yeah. Let's say that's where we got the idea. It's from a competitor who's kicking our butt, and we need to figure out, we're going to take some ideas from them. Are we adding or removing an object? No, we're not. This is a testimonial that's already there. We're just changing the format of it. Does it satisfy 2 or more of the persuasion components, right? And that's here. So I put this in this little note up here. So is it, and then you think about influence. This is the influence the name of the author escapes me at the moment. I should know this, but that's okay. The book Influence, everybody probably already knows from a marketing standpoint what book I'm talking about. But here are the different areas of persuasion, right? Reciprocity. So there's sort of reciprocation involved there with reciprocity, commitment, consistency, social proof, authority, liking, scarcity, right? Any of those. And if it does, it's like, well, yeah, social, the video, you see people talking, it's a much more powerful. So yeah, absolutely it does satisfy more than 2 of those. Et cetera, et cetera. And I'll skip through some of these just so you can get the idea. But again, does the test, match expectations created during the previous steps? That's really important optimization. As the customer's moving forward, every click, every behavior they're taking is because they have a certain expectation of what's about to happen. So does this test match that? And if they're looking for testimonials, sure, it would match that, right? Does it match our pre-frame expectations for the next step? It depends. Maybe the testimonials talk about what a great value this is and the value of price is the next step. So sure, maybe they would. If they wouldn't do that, maybe they don't. And again, the answer is not to get the yes 100% of the board. It's just to honestly grade it, right? Could the idea improve the average units per order? Let's say no, because in our file, there's just the one product they would buy, and that's only one quantity they could ever buy. Could it improve average revenue per sale? Let's say no. Could it lower cancellation refunds? Sure, of course. If somebody's really excited, they know other people are using it, they see video testimonials that show it, it could definitely do that. Do we have necessary resources? Let's pretend we do. Will it be out in 7 days? Let's say no, it won't. We have other stuff going on. Can the variation be completed? No, it's not. Great. Can it be running within 7 days? No. If deemed a winner, could we do it to other pages? Sure, we have other products. We could do that. Are we testing a high traffic page? Let's say yes. And this is a test for the client. Now, this is if you're an agency and you have clients, these questions come into play. If not, change them to, is this a priority test for us, right? For my company. So let's say, yes, it is for now. Do we have permission to begin the test? That would, again, from a client or from your team internally. Like, do I have authorization from my boss, right? Just change what this is. This is entirely customizable to you. But what's happening here is as you are flipping these in, you're getting a number, right? And I'm going to do a few of these here on this next one so you can see how I'm doing this. So I'm flipping in the yeses, I'm getting a number. I get a priority. Guess what I can do with this? This will automatically sort highest to lowest, lowest to highest, however you want to do it. And it will then show you these are the tests that should be focused on first because they have a bigger number, a bigger priority. And you can just sort them and then you'll have all of your ideas sorted. Right? All of your ideas sorted. This is why I love this particular tool, because it helps you answer those questions of, okay, I got all these different ideas. Which one should we do first? Well, you do the one that's got the highest priority. And it has the highest priority because it had this many benefits to it. It has more benefits, right? That's why you do that. So that's how you use this tool, and that's why you use this tool, is to help you sort through which test should you do first. Where should you put your focus on? Then after that, this is all sort of after the fact. Here's some screenshots. Maybe you have, hey, I want it to look like this or whatever. You can put that for reference. You've got the link to the actual test on whatever platform you're using. So you can just one click it from here and go to the actual platform to see the test. We've got the actual test end date, the control percentage. This is sort of your reference guide, your archive now here, right? So it's here's what the average control percentage was. Here was the range of your conversion rates, the variations range. Was it increase or decrease? The number of views. You're putting all your testing details. You're getting this from the platform itself, so you have a record, right? So you can easily sort of see everything on one little dashboard here. And then at the end, right? So was this test a win? Yes, it was. No, it wasn't. Again, why? So you can sort, see which ones were wins, which ones weren't. Using the same time frame, does another platform confirm the results? So important. Yes, maybe your split testing software said it was a win, but did analytics say it was a win? Did Facebook analytics say it was a win? Does another platform also concur that these people are taking the action you want? Always good to double check. So that could be a yes or a no there. And then can you build a case study? Again, if they are a client, I just put this in there for those of you that have clients because it's kind of a cool thing to think about. Otherwise, could we do something for the board, right? Could I present this to the board of directors, right? Or to my boss, or for the quarterly or the annual meeting or whatever, right? Just change the question to that. But it causes you to stop and think about it, which is what the point is, et cetera, et cetera. So, you got screenshots, everything else, other notes, and then, again, what you learned, right? Write it down. What was the learning? What was the win? How did you, the video testimonials probably work like this, this, and this. We've confirmed it. This is the third test we've done. These type of videos work really well, shot with perfect lighting, or the ones that are walking around on a camera, and that's all the stuff you put down here. Why? So you can reference it later. That's what it's there for. All right. Final section here is our report card. Now, this is, I'll show you just sort of how to run this out. So we've got the cycle end date. Remember, cycles and optimization are really up to you. Typically, a cycle is a week. It's basically the buying cycle, how long somebody is in the market for until they make a decision from awareness to actual purchase. And in most cases, for online marketing, it tends to be like, hey, I'm going to go buy shoes. And so I'm going to buy shoes this week, and I'm going to go look, and I'm going to buy something and close it out. If it's a longer sales cycle, then it might be a month or whatever. But typically, I'm going to say the sales cycle end date. Let's just say it was. I'll put in let's do something like as an example here. Let's say we closed that out on a Sunday. We said, oh, this is like February 3rd. Okay, so let's do that. So we put in the date here again, just for reference. And I would say, cool, how many testing opportunities did we have? And I say client-wide again, because I'm thinking from an agency perspective. This could be company-wide. And the idea here is not to have perfect, but you might have said, well, based on our traffic, I think we probably, in our resources and everything else, we could have run 10 tests. How many tests did we run during this cycle? Okay, we ran 5, right? Now, automatically, you see over here, this is starting to fill in some results. Okay, in this case, the testing coverage. How many tests of the possible tests you could have run, how many did you run? Now, I'm not saying this needs to be 100%. That's not what I'm saying. But it's a useful number to look at and be like, okay, well, as a company, we average 30%, 20%, whatever. It's just useful to know that because this is like an inventory of possible opportunities you have to improve things. And you don't have to take every opportunity because sometimes it's worth taking that extra time of not running 10 tests, taking the resources you would have done to run all 10 and dump all of them into just these 5 because they're better tests to run, right? That's okay. But it's still useful to record that. How many of those are a win? Maybe one of them was a win. And then how many transactions were actually produced from this? Maybe we had 10 transactions produced from this. Maybe we had $1,000 in revenue that generated, right? So 0 tests running, that's important. We want to make sure we have something testing. I would think, again, there's some times where maybe that's not necessary because it's the payoff of the resources dedicated to getting tests up and running. It's okay to have 0 tests, but it's something to be aware of. And then the average lift. What was the lift rate? So on average, we generated let's say of all the tests we ran, we generated a 15% lift. So you've got all these details in there. And then here's a kind of little optimization health. Just, again, benchmark, not goals. You might have your own company goals. I put these in here, but you can change them to whatever, right? So 60% might be your company. Other companies would be 20% because that's what they run at. That's awesome. It doesn't matter. It's just a matter of having something to measure against to see how well you're doing. What was your win rate? Maybe your goal is to have, 2 out of every 10 tests be a win. But in this case, it was only 1 out of 10. In this case, it was 10%. So you're running half to what you really want to be. Average transaction, in this case, we had $25 per transaction. We wanted to see an increased revenue. We're seeing $100. Great. That's awesome, right? So you have some idea of kind of how you're doing. And one line at a time, one data at a time, one cycle at a time does not a trend make. And remember, truth is in the trend, the power is in the pattern. So you need lots of these to actually start contributing to give some sort of pattern. Because when you see a bunch of this stuff coming through, now you can kind of see a pattern. You go, okay, yeah, we're definitely hitting the mark, or no, we're not, or we have some opportunity to improve. But it's just kind of a way to, at a very, very, very high level, summarize what's going on with your testing. And again, the big thing I think of all of this, my favorite part for sure, is this testing plan, because it helps you think through what questions you need to ask. It helps you sort by default what's going on. And you can actually prioritize and filter by 1,000 different ways. Well, not quite 1,000, but a lot of different ways. So, and you can use it as a record. It also is a built-in archive when you add in all the details here. So lots of cool things that this can do. And this is what helps you to build your optimization plan. Everything from getting the ideas out of your head to generating ideas that are not yet in your head to, okay, let's prioritize those ideas as a split test and think about what results we're going to get. Obviously measuring what our current results are, so we know where we can improve and what the bumps are going to be and what we think is going to happen to revenue and everything else. And then recording, sort of like a summary. Every week we're going to go back and we're going to record. Here's what's happened. So now you've got this complete tool in this one little handy spreadsheet that will help you with your own optimization results. So enjoy. With that, hopefully you grabbed at least one new thing. Maybe it was just the idea of using a tool like this. Maybe just the idea of something simple, like start simple and say, I just need to get my ideas out of my head and onto paper somewhere. Great, do that, right? Write them on a whiteboard, just get them out. But hopefully you got at least more than one thing that was able to move you forward on optimization as a strategy. If you are looking for more details around this, and of course, links to the spreadsheet, everything else, measure.tips/start. It is absolutely free for Measurement Marketing Academy members. It's already sitting back there for you. So measure.tips/start. And you can get access to that and so much more. Workshops, Academy office hours, all sorts of stuff that's back there. Ask an Instructor support. There's over 150 different workshops now that cover all aspects of everything measurement oriented. And it covers all the pillars, right? Planning to building stuff with Tag Manager and Analytics, to building reports with Google Data Studio and Facebook reports, to building forecasts and projecting out what we think is going to happen, to ultimately, like we just did, optimization and helping to actually improve our results based on all these measurements. So Measurement Marketing Academy, it is huge. It is built for teams. So if you are working with a team, there are multiple seats that are available for that. You buy one account, there's multiple seats within that account. You can assign out to your strategists, to your implementers, to your vendors if you wanted to bring them in, and they can all come to the Measurement Marketing Instructors and get help on what their little department is, so that they can get you up and running from a measurement perspective. Now, if you are already an Academy member, every Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, it's office hours times. That is essentially group coaching. It's your chance to jump on with an instructor. The instructors show up, and anybody who shows up can get questions answered. Sometimes there's just one person back there, and they get the entire thing. It's like essentially private coaching in a way, at least one-on-one. And then you've got the groups. A lot of times there's a bunch of people that show up, and they all are talking and helping each other out. And you get a chance to sort of brainstorm with others and poke your head out of your own little gopher hole. And sometimes that's nice, just to see what other people are doing. People are sharing their screens. They're working through their issues and challenges, and it's really, really helpful. So those are in there. And then all of the calls are recorded, and we have those placed. We only do it kind of once a week, but if you do miss it for whatever reason, or if you can't join live, you can always watch the recording for that week in your members area. So again, the Academy members, definitely please join office hours. It's amazing. And I'll make sure that you get that, and check if you need your links. They are either in your email already. You can check the Facebook group, the private area for the Academy members, the Facebook group, or of course in the Academy itself. Log in and you can see it under office hours. All right, next week's topic, what's new? We're going to cover the new updates and features released in January 2019, of which there were many. So that will be fun as a way to kick off 2019. I like the new looks of some things, and we'll be showing you all of those on the next workshop. Speaking of, if you are not yet a part of Workshop Wednesday, I highly encourage you to join that, because it's free and we do not give out every single one of these workshops. So you might be seeing this, and the reason you're seeing this is because we've made it public, but we do not make every single Workshop Wednesday public. You have to be on the Workshop Wednesday list. Once you're on the list, which currently is free, you are able to see all of the different workshops. You get notifications as to which workshop, what the topic is. And remember, we rotate main topics. So we have strategy sessions like we just covered. We have beginner topics. We've got intermediate, more advanced topics, and then we cover the updates. So you're, and you won't get them all unless you're part of Workshop Wednesday. So then you have access to them all and can watch them. So definitely join that if you have not yet already. Measure.tips/WW. And of course, if you're an Academy member, all of that stuff's already included. So Academy members get everything, so you don't have to do both. All right. That is it. We'll go ahead and call it a close from here on out. This has been Strategy Session, building your optimization plan. Thanks again for watching this workshop, and we will see you on the next one. Take care.